You know that feeling? When there's a sudden, kind of confusing distance from someone you really care about. One day everything's fine, you're connected, and then the next, there's just this space. And there's no clear reason why. It just leaves you hanging, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into that feeling, and we're going to see how a core Islamic belief doesn't just make that pain go away, it actually transforms it into a path of some pretty profound understanding. Okay, so let's just start with this idea. What if that distance you're feeling, what if it wasn't a loss at all? What if it was intentionally created by a wisdom that's way bigger than ours? The difference here is huge, because think about it, if Allah wanted that person gone from your life, they'd be gone completely. But instead, there's just space. So if it's not a loss, then what is it? The thing is, the pain you're feeling probably isn't meant to break you. It's better to think of it as a kind of purification, a process that separates what's real and healthy from what was maybe just an unhealthy attachment that was kind of disguised as love. And really, this is what it all boils down to. That distance, it's a test. It's like a mirror being held up to you. It's meant to show you something that you were just too close, too emotionally involved to see before. It's there to reveal whether your heart was truly resting in Allah, or if it was just clinging to another person for security. All right, so let's jump right into that feeling, that core emotional turmoil. We'll call this section Life's Confusing Distance. Because honestly, that's exactly what it feels like when your path suddenly seems totally out of your hands. I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? You end up replaying moments in your head, you're searching for answers, but the distance just sits there, completely unbothered by your need for everything to make sense. So to really get this, we've got to zoom out from the emotion and take a look at the divine blueprint. And this is where we start to find some answers. We're going to explore the Islamic concept that really gives us a framework for all of this, the concept of Qadr, or divine decree. Now, Qadr isn't just some philosophical idea. It's one of the 6 pillars of faith in Islam. It's the core belief that Allah has preordained and measured everything that happens in the entire universe. So you have al-Qada, which is like the final decree, the judgment, and then al-Qadr refers to the specific measure, the details of that judgment. So where is this whole divine plan recorded? Well, it's in what's known as Allah al-Mahfuz, or the preserved tablet. And listen, this isn't just a metaphor. It's understood as a real thing, a place where every single destiny, from the tiniest atom to the biggest galaxy, has been written down. It's a reflection of Allah's perfect and total knowledge. This compass here and these winding paths, it's actually a great way to think about it. Imagine our lives are like a journey, but the map has already been drawn by a perfect map maker. We're the ones making choices along the way, for sure, but the final destination and all the paths available to us, they're all part of this grand, pre-written plan. This hadith gives us such a powerful image, it's almost cinematic. The very first thing ever created was the pen, and its first command was just to write everything, from the beginning of time all the way to the very end. It really drives home the sheer totality of Allah's knowledge, which covers all of the past, the present, and the future. And, of course, this is where the huge question comes in. It's a paradox that people have wrestled with for centuries. If our story is already written, are we just actors reading from a script? Or do our choices actually, truly matter? Historically, people have kind of gone to 2 extremes on this. On one side, you had the Qadarites. They argued for total, absolute free will, almost as if God had no control over what we do. And on the complete other end, you had the Jabarites, who believed in pure fatalism, that were basically puppets with no real control at all. But Islam carves out this really beautiful, nuanced middle path. And here it is, that perfect, balanced middle path. This verse from the Quran confirms both realities at the exact same time. First it says, let whoever wishes. Boom, there it is, our free will, our choice. But right after that it says, but we will only wish to do so if God wills. So our free will is absolutely real, it's meaningful, but it always operates within the bigger picture of God's ultimate will and plan. Okay, so what does all this mean for you and me in our daily lives? How are we supposed to live with this knowledge? Well, far from being some passive belief, understanding Qadr is an active framework that actually empowers us. It helps us live with trust, with patience, and with real purpose. Now, if you're sitting there thinking that Qadr means our fate is just sealed, unchangeable, set in stone, get ready for a twist, because this hadith completely flips that idea on its head. It tells us that our actions, specifically our prayers, our supplications, our dua, can directly interact with and even change our destiny. So, how on earth can prayer change destiny if it's already written? It's a great question. Islamic scholars explain that there are actually two types of qadr. Think of it like this. You have taqdir-e-mubram, which is the absolute finalized decree. That stuff can never be changed. But then you have taqdir-e-muallaq, the hanging or conditional decree. And this is the part of our destiny that can be changed by our choices, our good deeds, and our prayers. And this right here shows us exactly how it works. Look at these things. Prayer, charity, keeping ties with your family, these are not just nice things to do. They are literally the tools that Allah has given us to interact with our own destiny. It's like we get to be co-authors of our life story, all within His divine plan. Our efforts really, truly matter. So let's bring this full circle, right back to where we started. Relationships. Understanding Qadr helps us see the difference between true love and unhealthy attachment. See, attachment, it panics when there's distance because it needs constant reassurance. It needs control. But true love, it breathes through trust. It's patient. It gets the control was never ours in the first place. And it seeks stability from the only place you can find it, from Allah. So, let's pull all this together for Destiny's final lesson. How do we take all this deep theological stuff and actually use it as a practical guide to navigate our own lives? Okay, think about it like this. Imagine you've jumped out of an airplane. In that moment, two destinies are written for you. You live or you die. You can't get back on the plane. That part's done. But the one action that determines which of those two destinies you get, pulling the parachute cord, is entirely your choice. Your free will determines which pre-written fate becomes your reality. And that's what we're left with. It's said that we each have a place decreed for us in paradise and a place in hellfire. The potential for both paths is laid out. So believing in destiny doesn't mean our hands are tied. It means the pen is in our hands. And the only question that matters is this: what story will your choices write?